Hello, thank you for tuning in to the Katie Sassine Show. As always, I'm your host, Katie Sassine, addressing the indoctrination of the nation. Now, as we know, the special election, the big day, is tomorrow. There have been early election voting for people that haven't been able to make it out, or that won't be able to make it out to the polls tomorrow, April 18th. So which special election are we talking about? Of course, we're talking about the 6th District, Georgia special election. So this is 6th District special election of Georgia Congress. The front runner seems to be not just of the Republicans or of the Democrats, but just seems to be Mr. Jon Ossoff. And he is the youngest candidate that I've seen. I believe he is the youngest. And Mr. Jon Ossoff seems perfect, but after researching, I have to say he is Mr. Not So Perfect. Got a picture of this retired Twitter account. So questions that I have that arise when I see this account. Now, the account is at Jon Ossoff. He used to have an account. Now he has an account. This is his old account. Now his account is at Ossoff. So his name was perfectly right on there. So I wonder why he joined a new account and canceled this one, because I don't know. I mean, what does he have there to hide? I just don't understand. I mean, he only had put out 2 tweets. He only had 20 followers, 127 following. It says that these tweets are protected. So I couldn't see them. I couldn't find a way to see them, but I'd be curious to know what they say. So why do you make this new Twitter account? Possibly for his involvement in the film industry, the documentary film industry, and maybe things he exposed that were not so friendly to the American government. Who knows? That would maybe make him a less favorable candidate to the masses, which he is appealing to the masses very much so. There's been much speculation about Jon Ossoff just as a whole. He has exaggerated his experience, and this has been claimed by many, and I've seen it with my own ears, and including John Bolton, ambassador to the United Nations under President George W. Bush. Bolton had said that Ossoff is deceiving many Georgians. That was quoted in the AJC on April 6th. He has been questioned by many for misrepresenting his experience, for receiving money from the DNC, the Democratic National Committee, etc. Meanwhile, he is always praising grassroots organizations for working to, quote unquote, flip the 6th District. They all want to flip it, the Democratic Party at least, especially those in favor of Ossoff, have the ultimate goal to flip the 6th. As long as they have a candidate that wins, they don't care. And I wonder if some of them even care if he's corrupt, because that's how badly they want a Democrat in this seat. So anyway, I have a question for Mr. Jon Ossoff, candidate for the 6th District Georgia Congressional election, the special election this April 18th. How did he raise so much money in so little time? Was it from the grassroots, John? Was it from aliens? Or maybe it was from the Democratic National Committee. So here's a video to give you just a little bit of a rundown of what I'm talking about here. Let's check it out.
Maybe even earlier. It seems the biggest insult you can say about someone wanting to represent constituents in Washington is that the candidate represents Washington and not everybody else.
And that is the charge now that is being leveled by Republicans at 6th District frontrunner Jon Ossoff, for example, by Karen Handel at Wednesday's debates.
I'm proud that I have built a diverse coalition that spans the political spectrum here in Georgia.
And let's be realistic. $4 million was not raised in $10, $20, $30 increments. He is being bankrolled by Nancy Pelosi and the liberal left.
We can now verify where the funds are coming from. Ossoff's campaign finance disclosures were released late last night. Matt Pearl poured through all the 17,000 pages today. Matt?
Yeah, we verified our data from the Federal Election Commission. The fundraising numbers on Jon Ossoff are staggering. So is the amount of fundraising being done from outside the state of Georgia. Let's start with the overall numbers. Ossoff's campaign has raised a remarkable $8.3 million in just 3 months. For context, that's more than former 6th District Congressman Tom Price raised in his last 3 campaigns spanning 6 years. But nearly all of that money has come thanks to a progressive nonprofit called Act Blue. They give simple tools for Democrats to help raise money. The left-leaning website Daily Kos has set up an online Act Blue portal for folks to donate to Ossoff. And so far, of Ossoff's $8.3 million, more than $7.7 million have come from Act Blue. And where are they coming from? Well, we crunched the numbers. Check it out. Just 6% of Ossoff's donors live in Georgia, and it's just the 4th largest state in terms of number of donations. He had more from Massachusetts, New York, nearly 4 times as many from California as he had from Georgia. That, by the way, only covers what we're able to see. The majority of Ossoff's donations are under $200, which means they don't need to be itemized for federal reports. That means we can't see who or where they're from. Having said all that, let me say this. Even if you only include contributions from Georgia, Jon Ossoff has still raised substantially more money than his competitors, nearly twice as much as even his nearest Republican rivals. But in terms of where most of his fundraising is coming from, we can verify Ossoff's diverse coalition extends far beyond the boundaries of the 6th District. Matt Pearl, 11 Alive.
They called it Ossoff's diverse coalition. Yeah, very diverse indeed. I mean, only 6% of the donations, according to Act Blue, are from Georgia voters. Whoa. Wow. So the charge that the reporter addressed in this video, the female reporter addressed in this video in the very beginning, she said, the candidate, Jon Ossoff, represents Washington and not everyone else. He's supposed to be representing the grassroots. He is supposed to be representing the people that want to be heard, the individuals. When instead, he is not representing hardly anyone in Georgia. In fact, only 6% of his donations came from Georgians. And like Karen Handel said, it seems like he is being bankrolled by Nancy Pelosi and the liberal left. Now, that came from Karen Handel. I entered in the phrase, it seems like, to preface that sentence because, well, Karen Handel can make accusations, but if she doesn't have the hard proof, I'm not going to go and say that as a fact. Now, his financial disclosures were released later than all of the other candidates, basically last minute. And he was actually harassed for it at a Democratic forum that I attended over at Andretti's about a month ago with BKP of Good Morning from the Office, our CEO, Brian Pritchard. So that was very interesting, and that was a big scoop there. And he was attacked for that by other candidates. So the male reporter later had stated, when we were looking over the graphs, that Ossoff has received, well, he has raised, technically, $8.3 million in 3 months. And $7.7 million from Act Blue, only 6% from Act Blue from Georgia voters. Now that leaves $1.4 million up in the air. Maybe those people were from Georgia, maybe not. We don't know. Moving on, we already know majority of his funds are from out of state. That's problematic. Actually, not moving on yet, because I just want to emphasize how this guy on his videos and his advertisements that tout him, I just want to emphasize, first of all, he's very young. Second of all, he's exaggerated about his experience. Third, we know he's endorsed by the outside. We know he's endorsed by the federal gov versus grassroots organizations, you know, endorsed way more extensively by them than any other candidate, and more than he should be. And, you know, last but not least, we know there's something going on. And what I can't stand is that he talks about the grassroots and praises the grassroots, but he's probably not going to do anything for the grassroots, because this is a top-down operation. If it were a bottom-down operation and people were demanding Ossoff, that would be different. But the people aren't demanding Ossoff. Washington, D.C. is demanding Ossoff. And why is Washington, D.C. demanding Ossoff? I don't know. I have no clue. But what I do know is that if they want to get involved in our election to flip the 6th, they're up to no good. It's none of their business. So I went to politicfact.com. I looked for confirmation of his experience, and there's been speculation There has been confirmation that he worked as a congressional staffer for 5 years, but there have been other speculations about other things that he has said that were untrue. For instance, he indicated that he had had 5 years of security clearance when in fact it's only was about 5 months. So I would like to, move on from Jon Ossoff and segue into another candidate, Mr. Bob Gray. Now, Bob Gray, I want to call him the MAGA candidate, the Trump candidate, because he talks a lot about, he hashtags MAGA, he talks about his support for Trump, very enthusiastically on the media, in his ads, etc. So I like to think of him as a Trump candidate, and I voted for Trump, so I like the fact that Bob Gray voted for Trump. I love it. So Bob Gray said in this tweet, "It's time we fight back, announcing Operation Grayout, hashtag Grayout. If you want to show your support for Bob Gray, hashtag Grayout. Sign up today if you want to go to his event on election night, grayout.eventbrite.com. And his hashtags, he included his Grayout, his party before the election, MAGA, Make America Great Again. He's showing his support for our Commander-in-Chief, President Donald J. Trump. And he's got hashtag Defend the Sixth, which is defending, flip the sixth. It's defending the historically Republican Congressional District of Georgia to maintain that status quo. And he also put hashtag America First. And that's something that President Donald Trump emphatically supports and he does value. He's been criticized lately for not putting America first, but he has other means to get to that end. And keep your faith and you will see. So there's another photo he posted that I've got for us to see today with his supporters wearing Trump shirts and hats. We have the best volunteers, hands down. So thankful for these guys. Sign waving today. Truly honored. Hashtag GA6, 6th District. Hashtag GA poll, defend the 6th, and make America great again. And then we had a comment on that tweet by John Wick of Politics. John Wick of Politics at Gingrich _PA said, "I'm all in for Bob Gray GA. And I'm all in for Donald Trump. And both these men need to win the Tom Price seat in Georgia 6th. Go get him, Bob." So, Tom Price not Tom Price. He's already been there and done that. Now he's in D.C. And that's what the future candidate that's where the future candidate may be in the future. Who knows? So Bob Gray essentially represents Donald Trump. If you voted for Donald Trump, if you want America first, this may be your candidate. So I know we started out with Jon Ossoff, and this is a predominantly conservative demographic that this show reaches. Although we are Real News Now, we do have opinions, but we present all the facts. And that was just a couple facts about a couple candidates who I've seen a lot in the press about. Now, we've got to take a break, but we'll be right with you, so stay tuned in because we're going to go over topic 2, the United Nations draft resolution not adopted in the Security Council. We'll be right back with you.
Ace is your helpful place for paint and home goods, tools, outdoor living, and lawn equipment. But did you know Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge is a little bit more? We have hunting rifles and accessories for your next hunting trip. We have Amish furniture imported directly from Ohio. And we have Ace Custom Woodworks for all your custom wood project needs, from cabinets to artwork. Ace Hardware of Blue Ridge. We have your new house in stock.
At Days Chevrolet in Jasper, we make everything better. It all starts with a huge new Chevy selection. Then we heap on the discounts to make sure your Chevy price is the lowest you'll find anywhere. And if you like great customer service, you'll love it at Days. Bigger selection, lower prices, easy financing, and great customer service. Your better day is just ahead at Days Chevrolet in Jasper, where new Chevys cost less.
Better days ahead, Days Chevrolet.
Find new roads.
North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds. Come on in to view the area's largest selection of fine jewelry at North Georgia Diamond. All repairs and designs are done on-site by our jewelers. And North Georgia Diamond has the lowest prices on loose diamonds. You can also sell your gold, silver, and coins at North Georgia Diamond between Walmart and Lowe's in East LJ. Locally owned by Bill and Allison Craig, North Georgia Diamond is your source for diamonds in North Georgia.
Hi, I'm Rhonda the Mattress Lady, and this is my husband Gary, owners of Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart. And we want to earn your business. From the time you walk in our door to the time we deliver your new mattress to your door, you will see the difference. Our selection and prices are the best in North Georgia, and customer service is our top priority. So y'all come on in and let us help you find the right mattress at the right price. That's Mattress Overstocked in LJ next to Walmart.
What you gonna do with all that junk?
Spring is one of the best times of year to visit the North Georgia mountains. Not only do we celebrate fall apples in Gilmer County, we celebrate the blossoms of spring. The Georgia Apple Blossom Festival brings one exciting weekend to East LJ, Georgia. This free, pet-friendly event has over 50 hand-selected regional vendors offering food, art, crafts, kids' activities, and more. For more information, visit GeorgiaAppleBlossomFestival.com.
Hello, welcome back to the Katie Sassine Show. As promised, we are starting a new topic right now. Before we begin, let me remind you that you can follow me on Twitter and Facebook at KatieFYNTB. On Facebook, that will direct you to my Facebook page, the Katie Sassine Show. I just started posting the archives on there not too long ago. So if you're looking for archives further back, you can check out my first personal Facebook page under my name. It is a public page for the sake of the show. Absolutely, that's out there for y'all to check out. So anyway, today we're talking about, well, with the background, as you can see, the United Nations, their beautiful picturesque logo, and the title, United Nations Draft Resolution Not Adopted in the Security Council. Why was this? Russia again? Well, yes, it was. Now, Al Jazeera reported on the footage from the Security Council emergency session. Let's check out what they posted on April 8th.
No talk of resolutions at this emergency session of the United Nations Security Council on Friday. Instead, anger from some members who said it may have been illegal for the U.S. to launch 59 Tomahawk cruise missiles at a Syrian military base the night before. No regrets from the U.S. ambassador. Nikki Haley said Syrian forces had killed dozens of people with chemical weapons in Idlib province on Tuesday, and the U.S. had a duty to hold them accountable.
The United States took a very measured step last night. We are prepared to do more, but we hope that will not be necessary.
The British ambassador was one of several who endorsed the U.S.'s action.
The United Kingdom supports the US airstrike on the Al-Shairat airfield because war crimes have consequences, and the greatest war criminal of all, Bashar al-Assad, has now been put on notice.
Both Syria's deputy ambassador and his country's biggest supporter accused the West of using Idlib as an excuse to try to overthrow the Assad government.
This strategy harms counterterrorism by the Syrian Arab Army and its partners. It makes the United States of America a partner of ISIL and Jabhat al-Nusra and other terrorist groups that since day one of the unjust war against Syria have attacked army positions and military bases, as well as the infrastructure.
As we see it, you have chosen a different path. We must recall, when you take your own path, that this leads to horrible tragedies for countries in the region and the people living there. Think of the consequences. Remember what you have produced in the Middle East.
The sharp tone also grew personal at times, with the Russians demanding the Americans not insult their country. But the Security Council still hasn't offered an official response to the Idlib attack. Now ambassadors have to try to refocus their efforts into trying to end the Syrian civil war. Rosalind Jordan.
Well, of course, in an effort to end the Syrian civil war that has been going on for far too long now and has extended across borders, of course, with the whole refugee crisis, etc., and just the guerrilla warfare itself, Nikki Haley, U.S. ambassador, said that the U.S. is prepared to do more. It hopes that, we do not have to go there. We do not wish to do more. But, without the worldly support and the support of the UN, we're going to have to do what we have to do when it comes down to it. So the UK supports us, along with others, because, as quoted, war crimes have consequences. And Assad is a habitual war crime committer, for lack of better words. That's really what he is. When I Wikipedia his name, it doesn't say that. It says president. But he is also habitual war crimes committer. And Russia said, against us, of course, they were the one that vetoed the entire resolution because as a permanent member, they have that power. They said, remember what you have produced in the Middle East. And they gave us a little dun, 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 scary little warning there. They've always been a little bit frightening, especially with that accent. Just kidding. The woman who does my hair is from Ukraine. It's a beautiful accent, and people there are great in that region of the world. So I really hope that we can come to terms with them, because at the end of the day, we're all the same. We're all the same species, and enough of Daesh, enough of ISIS. So moving on. Why was this resolution not adopted? Well, like I said, Russia vetoed it, but in more depth, 10 of 15 members of the Council, of the Security Council of the United Nations, voted in favor of the draft resolution. Russia, a permanent member, was the only to veto against the vote, or had that veto power and actually utilized it. So a permanent member has veto power. The veto power severely slows down progress in the United Nations, which is what they have done time and time again. Is this problematic to give every permanent member the veto power? Evidently it is, but it hasn't been changed yet. Maybe this should be reconsidered. China, also a permanent member, and non-permanent members, Ethiopia and Kazakhstan, abstained from the vote. I think it is noteworthy to say that China abstained instead of vetoing, because they could have vetoed if they wanted to. They could have shown that they were disapproving of the U.S. along with Russia, but they decided strategically to abstain. And who's been talking very much with the President of the United States and has been said to have good interactions with President Donald Trump? Well, President Xi Jinping, I'm not sure how to pronounce the last name, but President Xi of China has had pleasant meetings with Trump, and Trump has reported on those pleasant meetings. And it wasn't like when he reported on Putin and said, we hope that he will cooperate. I mean, he is really having amicable relations with the president of China, President Xi. I mean, Ivanka's daughter saying something to the Chinese president when he came into town in Chinese, maybe happy birthday. I think it was his birthday when he came in, and she sang him happy birthday. But he has been welcomed with open arms by the Trump administration. And that's very great stuff. With globalization, we need to come together and not drift further apart. And I know that's what Trump wants. And I just hope that others can understand that and jump on board before they fall into the ocean. So other permanent members, the U.S. Nikki Haley ambassador, and the UK, represented by Ambassador Matthew Rycroft, supported the resolution. Thankfully, smart people. So news networks around the world, of course, they responded to this resolution on Twitter. Let's see what they had to say. China Xinhua News says, breaking, UN Security Council fails to adopt draft resolution on alleged chemical attacks in Syria. And Fox says, well, was that Fox or was that? Okay, so we have two, and China Xinhua News said that, and also Fox News. So moving on. They were all over the globe. So we only showed one of the two tweets. We had a Fox and we had China Xinhua News. It's XINHUA if you would like to look that up, news, at XH News on Twitter. And of course, Fox at Fox News on Twitter. Great updates. I just began following China Xinhua News today, so I look forward to seeing more of their updates. Of course, I've been following Fox for a while now. So what I have to say about China Xinhua News, which you didn't see on the screen up there when we first showed the photos, was that they noted that they said the UN Security Council fails to adopt draft resolution on alleged chemical attack in Syria. Alleged. But I have to say the attack was not alleged. The attack was real. Who committed the attack is the toss-up. So the wording there is not very good. Maybe that's a language barrier. I mean, this is a Chinese network. So anyway, the Russian Federation, a permanent member of the Security Council, voted against the resolution. Reportedly, this is the 8th time Russia has vetoed a proposed Security Council resolution on Syria. Again, this was a draft resolution that comes before a resolution. And I was obviously not surprised by this news because it's happened time and time again. I am happy that China chose to abstain, though. I will say that much. Now, what would the resolution have done? That's what I'm curious about. And the resolution would have condemned the reported use of chemical weapons in Syria and called on the government to cooperate with an investigation into the incident. Now, where were the attacks that occurred in Syria? The location of the attacks. We have a map to show. We're going to pull that picture up for you. It shows the Idlib province in northern Syria. Northern Syria in the province of Idlib, officially stated on UN.org. There were attacks in towns Khan and Shikun of the Idlib province. Another photo shows Hama, right below Idlib, the province of Idlib. There's a province of Hama. There were attacks also reportedly occurring in the northern region and province of Hama. Now, we saw footage of these attacks posted by Dr. Shahidul Islam on YouTube last week. Dr. Shahidul Islam, if you did not tune into that episode, yes, there's a location. It shows Hama right under Idlib, if you'd like to check that out. So Dr. Shahidul Islam had claimed that the attacks have been going on for days. Now, we didn't hear from the press on the matters, as far as I know, until Tuesday, April 4th. But Dr. Shahidul Islam on YouTube, Shahjul, he said that the attacks have been ongoing for days and no one had done anything about it. And he called upon the world through YouTube for help. And I almost wonder, did we have to find out about it because of YouTube, or were we going to find out on April 4th anyway? Now, I guess we were probably going to find out anyway. I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist just for the sake of being a conspiracy theorist, but it is possible. It is possible that it could have been kept from us because the gas tax over there, the gas attacks and the civil war and the fighting and the bloodbath has been going on for years and years now. Anyway, we've got to go for today. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place. Remember to follow at KatieFYNTV on Facebook now and Twitter as always. And thank you so much for tuning in. I look forward to seeing you all tomorrow.